What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Home Built Workshop. Today we're going to do another leather project. Today we're going to make this cool bifold wallet, except this one has card pockets on the outside for easy access, and it's made from a couch. Stick around, check it out. For quite some time I've needed a new wallet. My old leather wallet I've had for years and years, and it's really wearing out. Now I've been looking at those front pocket card wallets and I like the convenience of that, but me personally, I like to be able to carry a few bills with me, so I want to be able to have at least a bifold wallet, so I thought that we could come up with something that would combine the best of both worlds. So to kick this project off, I've got my materials here. We're going to use some leather. Now this is some leather that was reclaimed from a couch. My buddy Jim gave me some material from a couch that was being discarded, so we're going to use that. Right now we're in the middle of this whole pandemic shutdown, and getting proper materials can be a little bit tricky. Now I could have ordered some of this and waited for it to be delivered. However, I don't know if there would be delays and stuff. So the name of the game here is using what you have on hand. Have some fun, build cool things. Don't worry if you don't have the exact materials. Just use what you have, make it work. And for this project, I took the time to create a pattern. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. So let's jump right in and we're going to start cutting some leather. I've printed off my pattern, and first I'm going to cut out all of the pieces. This way I'll have a pattern that I can easily transfer to my leather. So here are all the pieces that I'm going to need to cut out of the leather. I've got the back panel, the inner panel. These are going to make up the pockets. Each of these I need to cut out 2 of these, so now we just need to transfer these over to the leather and cut those out. Now normally I would scribe the pattern onto the leather, but this leather is not veg tan, so it doesn't scribe all that well. I found it's easiest if I just trace the line using a pencil. Most of this is going to be covered up anyway. Now I've got all the pieces cut down to size. We're ready to start putting them together. Now on the inside of this, I'm going to have one interior card pocket on either side. That's going to get stitched to a panel that's going to be on either side of the wallet. So this is going to be the first step of the whole assembly. We need to attach the inner card pocket to this little panel. To do that, contact cement. Why does every bottle of glue I ever own get glued shut? Super glue, wood glue, contact cement always gets glued shut. I'm going to apply the contact cement right along the edge of both sides of these pieces. Alright, so I'm going to give that about 5 minutes to dry just for that contact cement to start to tack up. Then we'll stick them on. Now just very carefully line these pieces up. We'll stick them together, and then using a small tack hammer, I'll just hammer the seams together. This helps get a really nice bond between the contact cement. And we'll just repeat that process for the other side. Before I attach these panels, I'm going to take just a minute and try to slick the edge. It didn't really end up working that great on this style of leather, but it did smooth it up and make it look a little neater. And now these little panels are going to get attached to either side here. Eventually we're going to end up stitching all the way around, which will stitch this side as well as the bottom side together. So really we only need to stitch this side right here first, because once we glue this in place, we're not going to be able to get in there to stitch that. So now we're just going to punch and stitch that. I try to keep these punches as sharp as I can, so a few passes on the strop helps maintain the edge. And now I'll use a pair of wing dividers to scribe my line where I need to punch the holes. This whole entire project is going to use an 1/8 inch stitch line. And now using a couple of hand screw clamps, I can use that like a stitching pony, put our piece in there, and now we can stitch that line. I'm going to use a saddle stitch with my typical red thread. I don't know why I like red thread on stuff so much, but it's kind of my thing. Since I typically have trouble pulling the needles through the holes after I punch them, I'm going to go through with an awl and enlarging those holes just a little bit. Now, I'm using a 3mm chisel, but I really would like a larger set, but the ones that I want are out of stock, and they've been out of stock for a long time, so I'm just going with the spirit of everything else and using what I have available. And if it's helpful for you guys to know what thread and needles I'm using a waxed thread. This is a 0.8mm, and for the needles, I'm using a Saddler's harness needle. This is a number 18, 1/0. There's our second one. With that first stitch line complete, now I can attach that panel to the inside panel of the wallet. The process for this, as well as all the remaining parts, are going to be exactly the same, gluing them, punching them, stitching them together. Hey, it's starting to look like a wallet. Cool. Now remember, this is going to get stitched all the way around here, so we don't need to punch and stitch that just yet. That's going to happen once we attach the back. Right now, we're going to punch and stitch just the top, because once we sew this together, we're not going to be able to get to the inside. So we'll just punch and stitch along this line, just like we did here. At the end of each stitch, I'm tying off the thread using just a simple square knot. Now I can just flip it around and we'll stitch the other panel in place. Now we could just attach the back panel and basically be done with this thing, but I want to try something different. I've always liked those front pocket wallets, like those little card wallets, but I don't carry things like that in my front pocket. I always carry my wallet in my back pocket, but I want to try to incorporate some of the elements of those card wallets, like the convenience of just being able to pull it out of your pocket and right there's your card, quick access. Well, I always thought that it would be kind of cool if you could just pull out your wallet and have a card pocket on the outside where you could just pull your card out. That's what these other pockets are for. We're going to glue and stitch some pockets that will be right on the outside. I think this will be cool, something really fun to play around with. You don't have to start digging around your wallet. You can keep your most used cards on the outside and just get it right out of there as soon as you need it. Don't have to open your wallet and dig around in there. So let's glue those dudes on. Before attaching these two halves together, I'm going to take just a second and hammer down the stitch line. This is going to flatten out the stitch and give it a more even appearance, and it's going to help to close up some of the stitch holes to make them look a little bit tighter and a lot more even. This step is completely optional, but it does make it look a little bit neater and more finished. So now is the time to join these two pieces together. Now the back has to be a little bit larger than the front, so we can't just glue end to end, otherwise the thing wouldn't end up bending. So the back piece is a 1/2 inch longer than the front. So what we need to do is glue one side in place right here along these two lines, and then we will punch and stitch that. Then we can glue the other side lining up these edges, which is going to make a buckle on the back, and that's where it's going to really give you the room when it opens up. So really just a lot more of the same, punching, stitching, and all that good stuff. So enough yapping, let's just get this done. And just like with the inner panel, I will take a second to try to slick this edge. Again, it doesn't work all that great with this style of leather, but it does smooth it up and make it look just a little bit neater. Now all that's left is to glue, punch, and stitch the second half of this wallet in place, and this thing will be done. Now we've got a little bit of cleanup to do. Some of the edges aren't quite as clean as I would like them to be, and I think a lot of that is due to the style of leather. So I'm just going to try to clean that up a little bit with some sandpaper. And now I'll just apply a coat of neat's foot oil. This will condition and protect the leather. Once the neat's foot oil's had some time to soak in, now I can load this thing up, and now I have this really cool handmade wallet, and I really like the convenience of being able to access certain cards from the pockets on the outside. And how cool is it that it's made from a couch? I do think though that using something like a veg tan leather would have given me a little bit better results, as I would have been able to refine the edges a little bit more. This leather, I don't know what it is, maybe it's a chrome tan or something like that, but it definitely doesn't accept edge treatments very well at all. But for what it is, I'm super happy with it. So like I mentioned guys, I do have a plan available for this. I have a simple one-page PDF available in the video description. If you want a little bit more detailed plan with individual patterns for each piece, I'm going to put a link to that available on my website. It's a little bit more in depth. If you want that, I'll put the link there. But again, if you just want the single page one, not a problem. You can get all of the designs right off of that. You just have to separate them out and cut them specifically. I'll put links to both of those files in the video description. Thanks a lot for watching guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I really had a good time putting this thing together. Thanks a lot for watching guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Yes, I'm wearing earmuffs because this is loud. And it looks like we got a little bit of a label on the back of this. What do you expect? It's a couch. You guys ever get weird songs stuck in your head for no apparent reason? Currently, kind of ashamed to admit it, that Billy Ray Cyrus song, Achy Breaky Heart, remember that? I have no idea why that song is stuck in my head. I never liked that song. Unfortunately, that's what's on repeat right now in my brain. Why? I don't know. Well, let's change the battery. Hang on, hang in there. I was gonna hit myself in the face with that. That would have hurt. Oh, man. Right now we're in the middle of this whole pandemic thing in a loud truck. Always a loud truck when I hit record.